always online. Grab your headphones, it's review time. Music's the love and it's divine. Laughs and insights mixed like wine. Every strong and every beat. They analyze, they can't be beat. Chilling it on the socials neat. Join the fun and take your seat. If music's your thing, come along. Hear Amanda sing her song. Chris brings the notes all day long. Together they make us strong.
Well, hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris and Amanda's Song Swap Showdown. Holy cow, we're here again, Amanda.
Sure are.
Amanda.
Every Monday at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time.
That's right. That is right. We are streaming on so many devices right now. Once again, it is a lot of fun though, but there is a chaos behind it. So it's funny. So if you are watching on the Song Swap Showdown Instagram feed right now, you can kind of see the hustle and bustle that happens as we get ready to go live. And it's a whole thing. It's a process. But you know what? I am happy that we actually even have the opportunity to go live because we're literally just, the behind the scenes on Instagram right now, but we are live, streaming live right now on Radio Garden State. So good morning, all Radio Garden State listeners. And of course, good morning to all of you watching on YouTube and Facebook, as we do each and every Monday here on Song Swap Showdown. And added bonus, you can also listen to the show anytime, anywhere you want, on the go, on our anywhere you get podcasts, basically, the podcast feed. So you could just search for Song Swap Showdown wherever you get podcasts, and we will come up, and you will be able to listen to us anytime, past episodes of the show, the whole thing. It's all there. It's all happening. It's all there for you. If this is your first time listening to Song Swap Showdown, maybe you found us on Radio Garden State, maybe you stumbled upon us on the podcast feed because you were recommended, or maybe we're showing up in YouTube because you subscribed to our channel because you watched our baby metal video, and you're like, what the heck is this? And now you're getting a notification that we're live. Well, we welcome you to the actual live chaos that is Song Swap Showdown. My name is Chris Vaglio, and I am joined by that girl, Amanda Sharp.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. So happy to see your smiling face.
Good to see yours. It's been a fun weekend. Way too long. Monday to Monday of not visually seeing you, Chris, is just so long.
I know. It really is a long time. It takes a while to it's like we do the show on Monday. We have so much anticipation getting to the show. Yeah. And then it's like, then we talk all week about the theme and what we're doing. And then it all ramps up again.
Yep. It does. It does. But it's so great to actually see you.
In
person.
In person.
If you're a new listener, Chris and I do not live in the same state. Chris is New Jersey based, and I'm in Michigan. So we make this happen long distance, and boy, do we have fun.
Oh, yes, we most certainly do. We have a great time, and I'm so happy that we got connected on Clubhouse many, many, many moons ago.
So long ago. Long ago.
Oh my gosh, the comments are popping this morning. We'll be getting to them in a second. Yes, did Gabe Mattingly check in with good morning, mything persons.
Like mything.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like it.
So great. Yeah, so if you are watching us on Facebook and YouTube, feel free to comment and play along as we go along here today for the show. If this is your first time listening to us, how the show works here is Amanda and I each swap 3 songs with each other that we may or may not have heard before, and then we rate those songs on a very precise
so
complicated scale of 1 to 5 records, with 1 being a hard pass. That's a skipper.
Get out of here.
Skip. Like, you hear the first note and you're like, skip. Skip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Garbage.
Yeah, stoppage, complete stoppage, like it's record scratch. I don't have that sound effect, so we just have to do it with our mouths.
Perfect.
All the way up to 5 records, the coveted 5 records, which is, of course, Heavenly Music to Our Ears. That's right, Heavenly Music to Our Ears. That is a non-skippable song going on our Eternity playlist. That's a song we could listen to over and over and over again and never get sick of. The desert island song, so to speak, right? If you're on a desert island, what song could you listen to over and over again and never get sick of? That is a 5-record song.
That's right.
And we've given out a lot of 5 records over the course of 4 years of doing the show.
Absolutely. And everybody's 5-record songs are different.
They sure are.
No one's are the same. And we repeat this every single week because we always have new listeners tuning in and on YouTube. And one of my favorite comments this past week that popped up was, I don't know if you're rating on a scale of up to 5 or up to 10, but 3.5 isn't enough. And I can't remember what song that was to address, but it was one of the clips you posted. And I was like, yeah, that was being generous.
That was being generous for sure. Yeah. Sometimes we're a little generous. I think it all depends on our mood. It's we're very honest in our reviews, but I think, sometimes the mood grabs us and we kind of ride the wave a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're just ready to dig in.
I feel like last week I disappointed you a couple different times with some of the ratings, but that's okay.
It's all right. And I'm sure I listened back to the episode. Actually, Rachel and I were driving to Pennsylvania this week, and we went to the Bushkill Falls, and we were listening back to the show. And particularly the whole REM, Everybody Hurts. And she's looking at me. She's like, what is wrong with you? She's like, I can't, really?
I think, quote unquote, you said, this song is too sad.
Yeah, I said that it's kind of triggering.
Video.
Yeah, the video's too sad. And she's looking at me, and she's totally agreeing with you, by the way, as we're driving. She's like, what is wrong with you? I didn't even know this about you. I'm like, well, I don't really talk about it. She's like, that's just weird. I kept saying, I go, am I the weird one? And she's like, yes, you are the weird one.
I love when Rachel brings reason.
Yes, she brought a lot of reason on that trip. But
I love it.
So yeah, if you missed that episode, you can go back, watch it on YouTube, or check it out on anywhere you get podcasts. So one more quick piece of business here is, how do we choose the songs here on Song Swap Showdown? Well, it's a really excellent question, because Amanda and I, back in the day, used to just arbitrarily pick songs and all that. But we decided, actually, we were inspired by our very good friend, Mark Ronick, over at Ironic Media, who also happens to be a sponsor here on Radio Garden State. He usually does this spins and wins thing in his clubhouse room every Friday, which is a great idea. And it spins, and they ask questions, and whatever it lands on, it's all podcast based. And every now and then it lands on a potential you could win a prize or something like that. Very fun. So we said, well, what if we took the concept of spinning the wheel and we added actual show themes to it?
Ooh.
What a novel idea.
Why not?
Why not? So since then, we have been spinning a wheel of show themes at the end of every song, which then determines next week's theme. The themes are a combo of things that Amanda and I have come up with, as well as you guys, our community, who have made awesome suggestions. Yeah. Please keep them coming, because we will add them to the list, because it just makes the shows fun and merry, and and they seem random, and they are. But that is the fun of it, because you just don't know what it's going to land on.
No, and it makes me wonder, should we add some prizes to our wheel?
Maybe we should add a prize to the wheel.
Based on who our Patreon members are?
Oh.
Where every Patreon member gets a little sliver of that pie.
I like that idea. What say you, some of our Patreon members? We have Dave Mattingly, Ian from Australia in the chat. They're part of our Patreon family.
Yes, they are.
Yes, so maybe we should do that. And speaking of Patreon, we do have a Patreon. So if you'd like to support the show, if you like what we do here, and you want to show some kind of support for literally as low as $1.50 a month,
we beg you.
You can head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/Song Swap Showdown, or you can scan the QR code on the screen if you're watching us, or use the link in our description. We want to say thank you officially to our Patreon members, Amy White, Mark Ronick, Dave Mattingly, Ian from Australia, and John and Beyond in the back of the Cereal Box crew, who so graciously did that amazing intro, and I just love playing it, because it's a fun way. I don't know, it's fun to start the show with hearing Johnny.
We really enjoy his podcast.
We do. I love watching.
Staple for us for many years, so it is fun to tip our hat to him every morning that we do the show.
I love watching Johnny I watch him on Saturday. I grab my bowl of cereal, and it's like hanging out with friends. So check out Back of the Cereal Box if you can on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. All right. Let's just dive into some of the comments really quick, because we have so many, and I just want to acknowledge them, and then we're going to get into the show. I promise, guys, we will get into the show. But Ian is saying, good morning, Dave. Just waiting for radio royalty to arrive.
This has gone to our head a little. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, Amanda is walking around Ida right now being like, guys, I'm on the radio. Guys, did you know I'm on the radio? Did you know I'm on the radio?
Like the radio.
The radio. Not just any radio, the radio.
I just it was never on my radar. Back in the day, I did a radio class in high school because I had to kind of thing. And I was so nervous. So nervous. Like now I can talk about anything, anytime.
Right.
But back then, I mean, even I was a nervous talker when it came to radio or video. And so I don't remember that teacher's name. I wonder if you'd believe that I was actually podcasting now and on the radio and just being able to talk at a drop of a hat about anything online anytime.
Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me
like
now. I've made it. I'm on YouTube and Facebook and Radio Garden State, guys. I've made it.
Let's be real. The world has now made it where anyone can do that kind of stuff, but still, we've made it, Chris.
We have. I mean, listen, we've always said we are a morning show.
Yes.
We are the morning drive time show, and now we are really a morning drive time show over on Radio Garden State. So really thankful for the opportunity.
Yeah, we may beg every day to get $1.50 from our Patreon members.
Right.
But we've made it.
We have made it. We have made it. Ian is also saying the opening song is sounding better and better every time I hear it. Well, you can thank Mr. Randall for that one, because Randall is the one who wrote that song for us. And thank you, Randall. What a great gift, because it is now the new theme song of Song Swap Showdown.
It is. It's so fun and just so perfect.
And the manga style art of the host really makes it work. Thank you, Dave. I thought so too. I think the song with the little AI artwork of us is quite funny. Yeah, it's good. And then a couple more, and then I know Dave always puts in suggestions, and so does Ian. So we'll get to those. But Chris and Amanda aren't just streamers; they're fountainheads.
I don't know that I know what that means.
Oh, and my dad checking in. Good morning from South Carolina.
Good morning, Papa Vaglio.
That's right. South Carolina checking in today.
Good morning.
Yeah. Excellent. Wow. We got so many, comments.
Going...
Holy cow.
Okay.
Wow.
I love it. Well, you know what? I feel like we should probably dive into this a little. Just let's dip a toe into today's topic, which is myths, magical creatures, folklore.
Right.
Which I'm telling you, Taylor Swift consumes if you Google folklore.
Well, yeah, I mean, she had an entire record called Folklore, right? I mean,
it is you Google folklore and you're hoping to find songs that aren't Taylor Swift, and boy, is that a task. So well done, Taylor, as we say almost in every episode. She's built an empire. She knows what she's doing. But man, to get past the Taylor to find some other stuff, it was difficult this week.
Yeah, the Taylor Swift stuff is very, I guess it's just very searchable. It's obviously she's huge, so she's dominating the search engines in every good thing. If you go to YouTube, if you go to Spotify, if you go on Google, if you type in songs about folklore, boom. Yeah, so you have to filter through all the Taylor Swift stuff first. The good thing, though, that I like is that when it comes to myth and folklore, you got a lot of metal bands that have very much adopted many songs about myth and folklore.
And we've done some shows in the past that have kind of overlaid this similar theme based on Halloween episodes or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I forgot to your point, how heavy that is saturated with metal type of bands in this space, because that's the majority of what I came up with. I really wanted to find more folklore sounding, like folklore sound.
Right.
But it was difficult.
Yeah, Dave is saying this was easy week for me. I have a lot of mythic and legendary music. And Dave did put in some great suggestions, and we will be getting to his in a little bit.
And spoiler, one of his are on my list.
Yes, one of his picks is on your list, and one of our community's picks is also on my list too, because I think this came up a couple times. This song came up a couple times on our Facebook group. So I did add it to our list. I'm like, you know what? I know it's not Halloween yet. We still have summer, guys. It's still summer. Please, let's hang on to summer as much as we can. But I had to throw on a certain tune. We'll get to that. But I am super excited, actually, for today's show. So I want to start with your song, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
I absolutely died when I saw this show up on your list. And listen, I am not a giant fan of this band, so to speak. It's not typically a genre of metal. So let me take it back. I do listen to some power metal because that is the genre of metal that this band resides in. So if
Okay.
I was the giant
Power
chart
metal.
of metal and all the offshoots of metal are insane, and so this band falls into the power metal subsect of metal, and this is
Mean
Gloryhammer, by the way. Song called Magic
describe
Dragon.
power because to
So,
me all
right.
metal is powerful.
Right. So
Like,
right. But
boom.
so power metal really was sort of came out of bands like Iron Maiden, who is on my list.
Yes.
Back then when Maiden was out, it was not called power metal. It was just straight up like British metal. That's it.
Okay.
But there's that sound that Maiden kind of has with like a lot of
Very
melodies,
distinctive,
soaring
yes.
guitars, twin like guitar playing, very galloping, like that sort of then became bigger and louder and more symphonic, like
Okay.
big, like almost like chanting like choruses, like you're going to war, like hymnals,
Like the
battle
Christmas
hymnals.
truce.
Right, like Christmas truce. Yes, very good. Yes,
Is it by
exactly.
Sabaton? Is that
Sabaton would be considered a power metal
okay,
band.
Look at me kind of
Yeah.
knowing something.
I think so. Sabaton fans out there, is Sabaton considered power metal, or are they like power metal with like, or like military metal? I don't know. There's so many. It's splintered off into so many factions now of metal. But this band resides in the power metal genre, Gloryhammer, right? And so a lot of those songs. A lot of these bands tend to have that really big, the bravado, that huge sound, like Dragon Force. If anybody remembers Guitar Hero, Through the Fire and Flames was the big hard song on Guitar Hero 1. Dragon Force is considered a power metal band.
Okay. And I can see that. And I feel like I'm more drawn to that lane.
I think you like the power metal. You seem to gravitate towards power metal. I think that if you were to choose a genre of metal,
I feel like I can get behind that.
I feel like you could, because you've got also, it's very, power metal seems to be very like macho male dominated, but like there are some great bands with female fronted singers who also have like these operatic voices. I mean, it gets,
it's very opera-like to me, and I hope true metal fans don't come at me for saying it, because I say it with the utmost respect, but the singing's very clear to me. Like the sound just sounds clear, more intentional, and powerful. Like power ballad without the ballad.
There's a lot less growling in power metal. It's definitely all about singing and bravado. Like,
I can live without the
it's a lot of
growling.
fist pumping, big sounds. Yeah.
I can get behind that.
Yeah. And a lot of power metal tends to deal with things of myth, folklore, especially the bands that are all from Scandinavia, Norway, a lot of Norse mythology brought into a lot of their lyrics, talking about historical things that happened in Europe, things of that. So you basically deal with anything from like the fantasy, like Lord of the Rings, mythology, all the way up to like actual like events that happen in Europe. Yeah, historical events that like Sabaton. Like their songs actually deal with a lot of historical events, like the Christmas truce is, and they take those stories and they turn them into like these symphonic, metal masterpieces, so to speak.
So good.
Yeah. And Dave is saying, yes, Amanda, you'd like Ronnie James Dio's Rainbow in the Dark. We've talked about Rainbow in the Dark on this program before.
I feel like we have.
Yes. And Dio is another one who also a lot of images of his lyrics, he got pegged as like the Satanist, and none of that was true because it was just all image. But his songs were actually all about like believing in yourself. Everything was positive. And and he would use things like dragons and mythology, but like it was all rooted in like believing in yourself and becoming your true self, all that kind of stuff. But he would also be somebody who also was sort of a founder of, without knowing it, that power metal movement of like, once again, big bravado, singing, like songs about all this like mysticism and things like that. So that back in the day before power metal was even a thing. I mean, there are huge festivals in Europe that have these bands play, like all like gigantic, like Europe. And I've always wanted to go to European metal festival or music festival, because the festivals there are way different than the festivals here in the United States. Like complete polar opposites.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the way the fans are there and the bands that play like draw like thousands upon thousands of people from all across Europe. Whereas like if those same bands play here in America, they're not. They're just not. It's just a different thing. Like European fans seem to really, really love this style of metal, whereas here in America, not that there aren't fans, but it's not the call for these types of bands. I feel here in America is not the same as it is over in Europe. So
okay, I mean, with it being a genre of a genre, I mean that would make sense.
So I want to talk a little bit about this. So let's talk about Gloryhammer a little bit. So we've kind of discussed power metal a bit. Yep. And for those of you just tuning in on our Instagram feed, thank you guys so much. If you want to listen to the full show, head over to RadioGardenState.com or join us over on YouTube or Facebook if you want to watch the actual show. So this band, Gloryhammer, this is coming from their record called Tales of Kingdom and Fife. Tales of Kingdom and Fife. And this was their debut record, which was released on March 29th, 2013, obviously in Europe. Now, Gloryhammer, once again, is a British power metal band founded by keyboardist Christopher Bowes and lead vocalist, and he's also the lead vocalist, by the way, of the band Ailstorm. So if you guys want pirate power metal, Ailstorm, where song's all about being pirates.
Okay, I mean, I like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. So this band, each member of the band represents a character in the story concept. Band members appear on stage in armor and costumes to represent their respective characters. So that's another aspect of power metal. Very theatrical, right? So of course metal.
This
could be very theatrical. It's fantastic. Yeah.
This all makes sense now.
Yeah. So let's talk about the story of this record, because this ties into the song that you've chosen for me this week. Okay. So this is the story on this record, Tales from the Kingdom Fife. In a fantasy version of 10th century Scotland, a previously foretold dark prophecy with his Aunt Struther's dark prophecy, the evil wizard Zargathrax invades and conquers Dundee with an army of corrupted undead unicorns.
Oh.
Now, the song on this record is called the Unicorn Invasion of Dundee. So once again, this is a concept record, so all the songs tell the story. So corrupted undead unicorns kidnapped the princess Iona McDougal, and the prince of the kingdom of Fife, Angus MacFife, swears revenge in a dream, and he has a vision of 3 artifacts that will allow him to defeat Zargathrax and sets off a quest to acquire them. This is very video gamey, right?
I was just gonna say this sounds like a video game, like Legend of Zelda or something. Yeah,
very, very. And that's the other thing too, is a lot of these bands are also very inspired by a lot of the video game, and video game makers are inspired by this. So it's like it's kind of a whole thing.
Respectfully, I'm gonna say this is maybe a nerdier Dungeon and Dragon.
This is
game lane of metal.
This stuff is so nerdy, and it's fantastic.
I love it.
Yeah, I know.
This is why I'm drawn to it. Apparently,
you're drawn to. Did you know any of this backstory? Like what I'm telling? Okay, so it goes on. So I want to, because this once again ties into the song. So MacFife first battles north to obtain a magical warhammer, which is the song "Quest for the Hammer of Glory."
Okay.
Then he travels a Strathclyde. Sorry.
I'm glad you're saying these words.
To acquire a golden dragon as his steed, which is the song that you've given me, Magic Dragon. Inspired by memories of McDougal, who was imprisoned by Zargathrax in a prison of ice, MacFife rides his dragon to Loch Rannoch and retrieves the Amulet of Justice from its depths, completing his quest of the 3 artifacts.
Okay.
And it goes on and on. I'm not going to give it away. You guys should listen to the full record for the story, for the conclusion of the story.
Find it all.
Yeah. So the song you've given me, Magic Dragon, is part of one of the 3 artifacts that Angus MacFife must acquire to defeat Zargathrax.
I'm telling you, this is a video game I would have bought, like a Nintendo video game.
Right.
Give it to me.
Yes, this is exactly that. So this is this song. So you want to hear? Everybody, who wants to hear some
Magic Dragon?
Magic Dragon.
By Gloryhammer.
By Gloryhammer. Yeah. So when I got your playlist and I saw this up there, I go, oh my God. So I got to play a little bit of this, and then I want to go into how this came onto your list. Because I have theories about it, but I want to know. All right. So here's some Magic Dragon by Gloryhammer.
This sounds like a final scene of...
It does.
Or like during... Oh my gosh, this is so video game. I can't unhear it.
So great. Sword twirling. You gotta love all the like little classical harpsichord elements. Here comes the big vocals.
Magic dragon, casting a spell on the mountain, covering wizards in glory, flying through majestic skies, searching for mighty power to defeat all
searching for magic power.
evil, right on the wings of a dragon, flying through majestic skies. All
right. I don't know if we've gotten dumped on YouTube already, but
I'm sure, but it would have been worth it if we did.
We might.
I mean, what a song.
I mean, come on. It is a majestic steed. It's a dragon. Like, listen, this is absolutely like this stuff was written before like House of the Dragon came out as a show. Like obviously the George R.R. Martin books have been out, but this is actually want to see this in House of the Dragon. I want to see riding dragons with that song on.
And Dave Manley coming in with the song's background is so extensive. I feel like I had already listened to the whole song. Dave, I don't disagree with you. Like that is, if I would have heard all of the background before I listened to it, I would have probably appreciated it even more. But how I even found this song, Chris, is when I was going through the Spotify playlist. And to your point, so much of the choices are metal. And it was like, of the metal, which one do I like the most? And I landed on this one. I said, I really like this one. And I hope Chris will like it too. And I was hoping it would give me some bonus points this week.
Well, it definitely got you a bonus point. It definitely got a reaction for me because I was like, Gloryhammer. Like, I go, Amanda dug deep. I go, how did this land on Amanda's radar? Now, I thought that might be the case, that you were looking for stuff and you're like, I'm going to try something new. And I got to tell you, I agree with your statement. I think power metal is your kind of metal. I think that you found your lane of metal. And
I feel like I do.
yeah, I think power metal is for you because you have given me other power metal songs in the past and you always seem to like them. So I think that's your thing now. I think power metal is your thing. You're a metalhead.
I think I might be.
I think you might be.
The only conclusion that can come from the show is I need a new Spotify playlist. That's power metal. Amanda, power metal.
Yeah. So listen, everybody, our community, especially power metal fans out there. So hopefully too, when I clip this and I put it up on YouTube, people, you're going to get a gigantic power metal playlist of everybody making power metal recommendations. So,
oh my gosh, I would love that.
Yes. So Amanda is looking for power metal recommendations, everybody. So make it happen. Drop them in the comments below. Obviously, do your thing. Do the stuff.
Help
Power
me
metal
out.
fans unite. Help Amanda out. I think we have found Amanda's. You know what? I'm gonna cheer this one. After all the metal that I've given Amanda, I think it's unanimous now that Amanda is a power metal fan. Power metal fan.
Pretty
I think I found a new shirt for you, by the way. I'm making a new shirt. I am a power metal fan.
And people will say, "What is power metal?" And then
That's
I'll
right.
be able to explain now.
You could explain. Oh, like Gloryhammer.
Gloryhammer,
You're like, oh,
Zevon.
ooh, wow, you're very versed in power metal. Sound like you know what you're talking about.
Thank you.
Yeah. You ever play Legend of Zelda? Yeah, that.
It's basically that,
It's basically that. It's like video game music, but cooler.
but cooler. Like
Yeah.
but Tom, like no one can argue that listening to that song wouldn't align to you as a kid playing those kind of
Oh God,
Nintendo
yeah,
Quest games.
Heck yeah.
And it would just fit into almost every single version of them.
yeah. Dave is saying now Chris needs to get into power country. I don't know if there's a genre of power country.
You know what? You just said those words, and Dave, within 5
Yeah.
minutes, is going to be in our inbox sending you
I
recommendations.
know. I was like, here's power country. Here's a power country. You know what? If it exists, I'd love to hear it for real. I'm not like, I would be down for hearing some
Yeah.
power country for sure.
You
I
would.
listen to like a lot of stuff that I would say is more in the lines of like Walmart country. Like that's sort of like,
Couldn't you have at least went to Target?
no, Walmart country. It's like country that they sell in Walmart. But it's not bad. I don't think it is because it's like, it seems like that stuff that's on the radio. Like it sounds popular.
Let's at least strive for Target country.
I don't know. It sounds better when you say Walmart country.
I'm not disagreeing, but I'm just like, Target might be better.
I don't know, but Target, I don't know. Target's like not with it anymore. Okay, regardless. Let me rate this song on a scale of 1 to 5 records. So
Yeah,
where am I
definitely.
rating Gloryhammer Magic Dragon on a scale of 1 to 5 records? First of all, name of a band and name of a song are outstanding. Excellent. The story is outstanding. I mean, that's the thing. If you're going to be in a power metal band, you got to have good storytelling powers.
Sure.
And I was reading this and I'm like, I would watch this show. I would play this video game. All of it's cool.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm a nerd.
Same.
Total nerd. I am ready to go. So I would rate this song. I do. It's a fun song to listen to. I squarely put the song at 4 records. This is a 4 record
Nice.
song for me.
Thank
Not
you
a
for that.
5,
That's
but it's
okay.
a 4, and I would choose to listen to it. Doesn't make the Eternity playlist, but it makes the playlist.
That's good. I think it's a lot of song
Yeah.
to listen to forever.
Listen, any song that has the lyric "Ride my majestic steed," that's a dragon, basically. And like every lyric in this song is fantastic. So, yeah. And I know we didn't even listen to the whole thing. And by the way, what we're going to try to do here, guys, we'll try to do for Radio Garden State listeners after we do the show, we'll play all these songs in their entirety so you can hear them. Because I'm telling you right now, it's like riff salad. It's like a lot of shredding that goes on in this song.
Yeah. Well, honestly, the whole playlist is very heavy with this style.
Look at Dave. Gloryhammer is a 4.2 for him. Well done, Amanda.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. Let us know what you
Amazing.
guys
Thank you,
think.
Dave.
Yeah. I want to hear from you. Let us know. How would you rate Gloryhammer's Magic Dragon? What do you rate?
4.2 from Dave. And
Wow.
you know what? Last week, Dave's scores were a little they were a little under the weather.
Yeah. Well, I
The
mean,
playlist
I think
last week
yeah.
just didn't hit
well,
his.
it was
the
it was
4.2
a
was awesome.
somebody left a great comment on our YouTube channel. Said, "Hey guys, just found your show. Really liked it. This was a little too much heartbreak for me, but like the show."
Fair.
A little too much heartbreak, and
Fair.
very fair. I mean, the show is all about heartbreak
right.
songs, so you know.
But when the wheel speaks, we follow.
That's
do.
right. We do. We
So
follow.
hopefully
we follow.
this week is a little bit more upbeat, which it looks like it might be coming in with 4 records from you, 4.2 from Mr. Dave.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
good.
Yes.
So will that excitement continue as I dive into your first song, Chris Baglio, which is Medusa by Anthrax.
Classic
No stranger
Anthrax.
to our show.
No, we've had Anthrax
has
on here
been
before.
spoken about
Yeah.
numerous times.
Then there were Anthrax recommendations, I believe, given by Tony Forkboy
Tony,
Donato.
yep.
But I was surprised, Tony, you did not add Medusa to your list.
You
A
know,
glaring omission from your list, Tony.
glaring.
I know
very
I'm going to get a text from
fitting.
him after he listens to this, and he's going to be like, I did it on purpose.
Glaring is a very good way to segment into Medusa. So
Medusa!
imagine having the power
Yes.
to just glare at something and then turn it to stone.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know if that's a blessing or a curse. And I don't know the myth enough to know if that could be turned off by her. You know, like if she found someone she loved and she looked at somebody, like, or can you look at somebody and only if you glare at somebody it's stone? I don't know enough about Medusa to know. But what
Well,
a power.
So all right. So for those of you, I think is she the most popular of the Greek monsters or Greek mythology and familiar monsters? I would love to know that. Is Medusa the most famous?
You know,
So she's considered a
quite possibly.
Gorgon. She's the Gorgon.
Oh,
Um,
didn't know.
and she was condemned to have snakes for hair and turn
Mm.
every person she sees into stone because Athena, this is crazy. This is nuts. So Athena punished her for being raped by Poseidon in her temple. So she got punished for that? That's weird.
Plight
The
of
hero
women.
Perseus later killed Medusa to use her head to petrify the sea monster and free Andromeda.
So it was just her, anyone she looked at. That is quite a curse.
Yeah, and then only to be killed by Perseus, and then still used. Her head still used. So even in death, her head could still turn people to stone, by the way. So just because he's dead doesn't mean that she can't turn you to stone.
And then to have hair of snakes.
Yeah, well, if anybody remembers the classic Clash of the Titans movie, which is excellent with the Ray Harryhausen
I haven't seen that in a
claymation.
long time.
What a great movie. Harry Hamlin and Burgess Meredith. It was an all-star cast in that. Laurence Olivier. Oh my gosh. That was an all-star cast of Clash of the Titans. Great movie.
Very good.
Very good. But Medusa by Anthrax.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a very, very interesting power to have. But if you were punished with it, I mean, obviously it is a curse. The way that they lyriced out this song, I really liked it.
Yeah.
It has an expected Anthrax sound based off of what I've heard in the past from what you shared. So I mean, it's. I think coming off of Magic Dragon, though, it's almost kind of chill.
Well, I mean, Magic Dragon is a very like big song, you know, but this is once again the evolution, right? So that was released in 2013, whereas Anthrax Medusa was released in the 80s. This was like 1984.
Yeah, so it cracked the door
85?
for Gloryhammer.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, once again, yeah, Anthrax was one of those bands. I mean, they were, you know, New York City like thrash metal, but they also very influenced by the British metal bands like Iron Maiden, very influenced by Iron Maiden, and obviously made it their own sound. You know, part of the big four of thrash metal bands for sure, influential metal bands. So for Glory, you could draw a line from Gloryhammer from Anthrax as far as an
Interesting.
influential foundational band, you know, who all, once again, all kind of go back to Iron Maiden. It all goes back to Iron Maiden.
And Dave, what an interesting comment. A friend of mine made a series of short videos about monsters dating. Medusa's date was the Invisible Man. Great pairing indeed.
Wow.
That's clever.
That's very clever. That is very clever. However, here's a debate. Is
okay.
So he's invisible, right? But he can still see her. So would he not then turn to stone?
But if he was invisible,
but the
is there
Invisible Man
nothing
can
to
still
turn to stone.
Okay. So, okay.
You know?
But if you throw a sheet over the Invisible Man, there's a form there. And he's wrapped in bandages and stuff, like at least in the movie versions of the Invisible Man.
Oh, now we need answers.
But I'm like, he's still a human. He's just invisible. I don't know. Or maybe they cancel each other out because they're both monsters.
I feel
you know?
like canceling themselves
It's
out.
a great debate. I think we'll have to post this on Facebook. And
but
see
what a
what
great,
the poll is.
like, truly, what a great pairing, though. Like, what a clever,
It is a great pairing. Very
pairing.
clever.
That's where, like, I like the movies Hotel Transylvania. Have you seen those?
Oh,
I
they're
just
great.
think they're adorable. In the way they pair, like, love interest within that little cartoon is so cute.
The first one is great. I really like the first one.
Monsters are people too.
Monsters are people too.
Monsters are people too. So listen, I actually, this is exactly what I expected from an Anthrax song. I think the Medusa, folklore or myth of her is very interesting. I had forgot, back in the day, we did like Greek and stuff like that, learning in school, but you just don't remember all of the stuff.
Right.
So to know she was punished in that way, that's really sad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the Greek mythology stuff is, it's interesting. It's very interesting, and obviously mythology was a way too of them explaining things that they didn't understand. Hence mythology, and legends are passed down, and all how it goes. And I love Greek mythology. I mean, I think it's very, very fascinating. I did take a class on it in college. It was like a myth and folklore class.
Sure.
And we touched on Greek mythology. We touched on like all kinds, folklore from around the world. Like very, very. I mean, and that was just like very like a scratching the surface type of a class.
Yeah.
But all these classic Greek mythology, all these stories are done in every single movie ever. So they're all there. They're all there.
They even show up in Supernatural, one of my favorite shows, over and over.
They were even using Medusa like in some like ad for like some, I don't know if it was like a seltzer ad or something. I don't know. They were using it. This was like 2 years ago or something. I saw they were using Medusa in an ad, and she's chilling with the girls and all that, and she's turning guys into stone who are like hitting on her and everything. So it's like, I thought it was funny. I'm like, wow, that's harsh. Don't hit on Medusa.
Sometimes women just want to drink their seltzer.
That's right. Don't bother me. I'll turn you to stone.
No means no. No interest is no interest.
Yes.
Every girl would like a friend Medusa.
There you go. Yeah. Go away.
Go
weirdo.
away. Medusa, do your thing.
Yeah, do your thing. Guy's annoying.
All right, let's play a little bit of Medusa by Anthrax.
Little bit of Medusa.
And Ian left a comment that said, Anthrax, quick, call the vet. And that's funny because as I was doing some research on this song, so much of what came up was Anthrax.
I know.
Not the band.
Yeah, you're going to have some people showing up to your house.
As how we haven't yet with all of our themes, I don't know.
All right, here's a little Anthrax, Medusa. Classic. Classic Anthrax.
There's never a time we're not listening to something like this. This doesn't do the
Gorgon!
I think good mood with past speakers. All this music sounds good.
Yeah. Yes. Demon. With your eyes, Medusa. All right. So I bet Medusa.
All right.
It's such a classic tune, man. Such a classic metal tune.
So this is a okay song. This is really okay. Like it's
okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I have no issue with it. I wouldn't turn it. I wouldn't pass it.
Okay.
I wouldn't skip it.
Okay. You leave it on.
I'd leave it on. I don't know that I'm just gonna go play it.
Right.
or put it on a playlist.
Okay.
Or maybe if maybe on my Halloween playlist.
Okay.
I feel like this could liven up a little.
Oh, this is
Halloween
definitely on.
shindig.
This is on this is on my Halloween playlist for sure. I mean, it's it fits right in.
So I take back it may end up on a playlist. So I rate this very comfortably, like at a 3.8.
A 3.8.
A 3.8. I'm feeling this metalish, feeling this week.
All right.
I don't know why.
Okay. All right. 3.8. I think that's very respectable for you, being that you are now only a power metal fan.
I'm so glad we figured that out.
Yes. I'm so glad we sorted out what kind of metal fan you are.
What? But, I was thinking about this on the drive to the store to do this.
Yeah.
And I always have our playlist playing.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes me laugh to think that none of this at all was on my radar to even listen to 4 years ago.
No, not at all.
This show has single-handedly just kind of developed me into this, where I sit back and wait for Ice Nine Kills releases. I mean, come on.
You do.
That is
Ice Nine
Kills. Who would have thought? If you would have told me that in season 1, I would not have believed you. But here I am going, ooh, give me more.
Yeah. No,
we love those.
I am very happy that I've somehow switched. And you also, vice versa, you have gotten me into some country stuff that I would never have gone
Walmart
and just chosen to listen to. Walmart country. It just goes, beware, son, you're about to enter Walmart country, Dave. But yeah, I would say it's been a very reciprocal relationship over 4 years. So
super fun.
I am glad that I accept your 3.8. I think that's a good rating for you who does not listen to Anthrax, but now we know you listen to power metal. Yes. Yeah. Dave is saying it was Medusa. Okay, so this is kind of the going on. The question I had was, would the Invisible Man still turn to stone because he's got eyes and therefore is still human? But so he was saying it was Medusa looking into the eyes that petrified, which is why Perseus used his shield's reflection to fight her. Yes,
all right.
He does use the shield.
So
I don't know if it still answers the question, so to speak, but I'm gonna go with that. They're just cancel each other out.
So this is where my brain is. He can see her. She just can't look directly at him. So she couldn't see him, but he could see her. But as long as she didn't glare at him or look at him.
Okay.
Like, I think eye contact, right? Like,
yep, you're right. Eye contact. So that's probably
side companions. Just not
you know what? I accept that explanation as a plausible explanation. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree with that explanation? I agree with that one. I think that's a very good explanation.
Seems plausible.
Very smart. Also, Minotaurs, Pegasus, and the Sphinx might be more popular than Medusa the Gorgon, by the way. That's the answer from that question before.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So before we move into our second songs, I do want to go back because, as always, Dave Mattingly and Ian also always leave us tunes.
Gotta scroll up through all the comments.
Scroll all the way up. Okay. So here we go. So as always, like I said, Dave, the VP of the VIPs, always does a great job making playlists for us. Mm-hmm. So he said, this week, my songs for Chris are Cluster Folk. He goes, by the way, best band name ever. Matt, it is a pretty good one. Cluster Folk. Mad Gods Stole My Mustard. Okay. Jonathan Richman's Abominable Snowman in the Market. Mm-hmm. And Voltaire in the Land of the Dead. Wasn't Voltaire, was that a character in the Twilight things?
I don't
know. Am I thinking that wrong? I don't know.
I still haven't seen or read those books.
Okay. Well, I haven't read them either. And I did see the movies because I had
You had girls, yeah.
I had girls, so I've seen all those films, unfortunately. So, all right. So those are the picks for me. So picks for you, Amanda Sharp. My songs for Amanda are Donovan Atlantis.
Which, listening to that, it's an experience.
It is an experience. Donovan, well, first of all, Donovan is a musical genius. Let's just get that out of the way. And Atlantis is psychedelic.
And bear with me with this comparison, but like Bohemian Rhapsody, like, how it's just all over everywhere.
Yeah.
I feel like totally different, but similar styles of chaos.
Yep. Yeah.
It was so interesting when I listened to it.
Donovan is a musical genius, and Atlantis kind of proves what's going on inside of his head. All right, so Loreena McKennitt Loreena, Loreena,
maybe,
Loreena McKennitt, Murmur's Dance,
which is on my list.
that's a song we're about to dive into, and
Mhm.
Peter Gordon, Lady Godiva.
Which,
Peter and Gordon. I'm sorry, Peter and Gordon, Lady Godiva.
and I will say, when I listened to that one, I let it move on to other song suggestions after
Mhm.
listening to that, and what a nice playlist it led into.
Yeah.
So all great recommendations for me this week, Dave. Thank you.
And Dave, by the way, went an extra mile and gave songs for Ian to listen to. You guys got to love this community. It's just amazing that we've got people that talk to each other. And Dave, so graciously now, is giving picks for Ian. So Ian from Australia. So he says, my songs for Ian are Beck, Satan Gave Me a Taco. Great song. That's a great pick there.
That's hilarious.
Book of Love, Witchcraft. And, Shriekback. Wow, look at you, Dave. Shriekback with Nemesis. Whoa, that is a good one. Wow, those are great picks.
9 good
Great
songs
picks.
for every person.
Look at that. Dave, going the extra mile. Oh, geez. He goes, and songs for everyone else is more. My songs for everyone else out there, meaning everybody.
Everybody.
Alan Sherman, Sir Greenbaum's Magical. Did I say it right? Magical?
Sure.
Magical? As I ask you. The Irish Rovers, Unicorn, and Smothers Brothers, Saga of John Henry.
Very good.
Wow. Dave just spreading the love all around today. Wow. Impressive, Dave. Oh, he was saying, Ian saying, I didn't feel comfortable leaving songs this week as myth and folklore songs I know belong to the indigenous people of our country. Okay. Great point there, Ian.
Well, and you know what is very interesting about that is one of our favorite, Emily Werewolves, I think is how we say her last name. Ian, I'm not sure if you were aware of her. She is one of the people, I shouldn't say people,
we like
artists that we first featured in some of our newest episodes that we ever recorded in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And she was so kind. We featured her song, Lady Blue, and it's still one of my favorites.
It's a great song.
And she was so sweet and sent us messages on IG, voice messages, and to hear her voice. And it just dove me into a little bit of research about her and her indigenous connections that she is. It was such an awesome way to dive into that culture. So I agree with that comment. Great remark.
Yeah. And by the way, if you've never heard Lady Blue, check it out. I'm telling you,
Stunning.
Go on, listen. Great song. Emily Werewolves.
Yeah, follow
Excellent.
her on social media.
Beautiful voice.
She's a beautiful woman.
Absolutely.
Beautiful woman.
So, all right, let's get into your second song, which is, go ahead.
I was going to say The Mummer's Dance by Loreena McKennitt. But this has a very long intro. And I want to just put it out there because I know one of the things I always say is that the long intros are not a favorite of mine. But this one leads into something very magical. So it's okay.
It does. It does lead into something very magical. Right. And this was released in 1997. And actually, for those of you like, who? And this charted number 18 in the United States, by the way.
Everyone will know this, even if they don't know the title or the artist.
Yeah, it really kind of bucked the trends and caught on. It just broke through mainstream and people listened to the song. And so I have a little bit of a history with this song and this album, actually. So,
do you really?
Yes, story time.
Story time. I'm getting close.
Story time. So everybody gather around.
Yes.
It's not that great of a story. But so 1997. Let's go back to the year. 1997. So 1997. This is when Rachel and I were engaged at this point.
Ooh.
We actually were married in the year 1997.
Okay.
We got married in 1997 in November. But one of the things that we used to do all the time with us and our friends, now for people in the area here in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. So there is a county called Bucks County here, right? And from where I live in North Jersey, it's about an hour or so ride south, kind of southwest. So it's not in Philly, but it's outside of Philadelphia, New York. Bucks County is like a whole county outside of Philadelphia. but it's very rural. A lot of Amish out there in that part of Pennsylvania. But there is a little town called New Hope, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Look it up, everybody.
All right.
Look it up. Google New Hope, PA. If you've ever been there before, then you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, Google it, because it's like a little village town. Like it's so adorable. It's cute. There's all these like cool specialty shops. It's adorable. And if you ever get a chance and you visit and all that, I highly recommend New Hope. And right across the river in New Jersey is Lambertville. So it's like they're all connected by a bridge. It's great. It's a lot of fun. And definitely great during Halloween.
Ooh.
Or when it gets to be fall. And you could walk around, you go to all these shops, there's places to eat and all that. So back then, not so much now, but back then, one of the things New Hope was kind of known for was having a lot of like these little witchy stores like all over the place.
Oh,
like head shops.
I was feeling like it was like a Salem. Like
right. It does. It has a very Salem kind of a feel. And was a lot of these witchy stores and, record stores and head shops. And, there's a great collectible shop called Love Finds a Way, and it's all like you could buy like that would be like drooling. You'd see like Star Wars figures like from like when I was a kid. It was just excellent. I'd always walk out of there with something. But anyway, they had all these great shops, and a lot of them were all these witchy type shops. And back in that time, my wife and a lot of our friends were all very into like that pagan culture, and I remember walking in and out of every single shop was pretty much this record playing in every one of these shops, and you could go and it would actually be on the counter, and people, it would be like, buy this record, and I remember my friend at the time, he bought it. He bought the CD because he's like, this is really good.
This is going to be CD era.
Yep. Yes, definitely CD era. Bought the CD, and I remember we listened to it like all the way home and all that, and I just remember being. It was a repeat. I mean, basically, it was like from the time that we left to like almost when we got back, it almost filled the whole ride, the whole record. No, the whole record, not just this one song.
Not just single. Okay.
But it is definitely a very cool record and meditational and definitely calming and all that. But if you back in that time, went along with that whole culture of
100%
pagan witchy poo kind of stuff.
Whether that was the intent or not, like it just has that vibe to it. So I can appreciate
it definitely has that vibe.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, so the song itself, so according to songfacts.com, it is an original song composed by Loreena McKennitt. Although it has its roots in centuries-old tradition, mummers or mumming can be dated back to at least the 14th century. Although the form varies, the most famous mummer-related event in North America is the annual Mummers Parade, which is held on New Year's Day in Philadelphia. So also, once again, Bucks County being right outside of Philly.
Sure.
Yeah. So mummers also went door to door, as indicated here. The song, though, is not much of a tribute to mumming as a celebration, as it is a celebration of nature. So it says McKennitt first learned about mummers when she read about the mumming trope that traveled to a Polish ship that had been stranded in a Newfoundland harbor on New Year's Eve, 1984. The mummers boarded the ship to entertain the crew. This led to her book called The Golden Bow, which explained more about the mummers. This is Loreena McKennitt's most popular song. It's by far her favorite. The mummers dance wasn't anything too spectacular, she told Song Facts. It was kind of written in more of a traditional format in a way, not incredibly sophisticated lyrics or idea-wise. When she asked for what song stands out among her work, she cites Dante's Prayer, which is another track off this record, The Book of Secrets. So, Celtic-inspired folk music doesn't usually do well in the pop charts, but the Mummers Dance made a strong showing, reaching number 18 on the Hot 100 and number 16 on a Canadian singles chart. The song was also used as a theme song for the American TV series The Western Legacy, which aired for one season in 1998, and was also used in the Brazilian soap opera Corpo do Rato. So for all you Corpo do Rato fans out there. Yeah, exactly. In addition, the studio version, which was recorded for the 1997 record, there's also a live version of McKennitt's Nights from Alhambra album, which was recorded in 2006, in which she's accompanied by a full band playing a modern and not so modern instruments. She plays accordion and also sings. So, little bit of the Mummers Dance. Now, what you were trying to find some information about the Mummers before. You're like, wait, I didn't know much about the Mummers.
Yeah, I just needed to because I read that, but then I wanted to go visually see what Mummers look like. And
They have the hats and all that.
yeah, there's like a headdress, and I don't want to be disrespectful by calling anything incorrectly, so please forgive us.
Well, they have
but
the costumes, and it's just
yeah,
it's
and I don't know
awesome.
if it's technically a costume or if it's actual. I don't know the words to be able to describe it properly, so please forgive us. But yes, it's very, very enchanting looking.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It was held each day, New Year's Day in Philadelphia, started in 1901. It is the longest running continuous folk parade in the United States. That is nuts.
But when you see the pictures, I mean, I feel like you can understand why. It seems very interesting, and I put it into the same category as Native Americans, in their dress and how they do the dancing and just how amazing and artful that is. I kind of put it, so I really understand. I feel like it just makes sense that it would be so successful.
Yeah, I mean,
well attended.
It's I know that my daughter's boyfriend goes, he attends, and obviously it's a big to do in Philly, so to go see it, and it happens every year, and it says a parade actually traces back to the 17th century roots, blending elements from Swedish, Finnish, Irish, English, German, and other European heritages, as well as African heritage as well.
Oh, I can see that. I can see that.
So.
And Dave's saying it's so weird that Mummer's Dance charted in 98, surrounded by grunge. And we all remember Amanda's Hidden Flannel years. That was right in those years.
Right in there. Right in those
And so
years.
I feel like that might be why I remember this song so like clearly.
Yeah.
Was because of it just being in that time of grunge for me. But it's such an enchanting song.
It is. All right, so let's listen to a little bit of the Mummer's Dance. I know it's got a long intro, so we'll
we can just bypass.
We'll bypass some of that.
Go to like minute 4 and you should find it. No, I'm
kidding.
It's not
basically,
that long,
it's somewhere there.
It's long.
Here we go. Here's some little bit of Mummer's Dance for everybody.
Look how far we're in, and it's still intro. But here we go.
Springtime of the year, when the trees are crowned with leaves, when the ocean took and the birch anew, and dressed in ribbons fair, when I was called the breathless moon in the blue veil of the night, the shadows of the trees appear amidst the lantern light. Sometime of this day, not returning back again, we bring
springs back a lot of memories. Memories unlocked.
It almost doesn't make sense how I connect to it because it's such a unique song.
It is a unique song. Well, once again,
found a place though magically.
It's amazing that, to Dave's point, the fact that this charted so high
during when grunge rolls the playlist.
It's a great song, though.
It is, and I love her voice is beautiful. This is just not something you would hear on mainstream radio.
Yeah. Alright, I'll key that down a little bit. So, this song, it's funny. I had not thought of this song in years. Since
those little shops.
But seriously, I used to, this was, Loreena McKennitt was something that like our little circle like listened to a lot. Like the CD was always on in somebody's car. Like I have a copy of this. I have a copy of the CD. Like it was just something that, like as a group, you all hang out and you all start listening to the same stuff. Like this was that time. And honestly, once that sort of like wore itself out, I really didn't go back listening to I just didn't go back to listen to it. I just, it's just kind of moved on. And so really hearing this song again was like, wow, it really took me back. Nostalgically for the memories I was just sharing with you. It just brought me right back to that time when like, we would go and make these trips, and you'd go down there, and I can actually like even sometimes like I can even like the way like autumn smells and the way like certain places smell like it. And it's good. It's good stuff. It's just you remember it and you remember it. So I have fond memories of this song and this album and just hearing it. It was a lot of good times going on back then. And 1997, very young. Like I said, we got married that year, and we were just on the start of our journey together. Here we are in 2024.
Babies.
So yeah, I have not listened to the song in many, many years. So all right, so where do I rate this song on a scale of 1 to 5 records? So nostalgically, remembrance, all that stuff, very cool. I don't know if the song itself is something that like holds up in the sense of like it's definitely caught a zeitgeist at that time of like it rode a wave and charted and all that. But now listening back to it again, like it's cool to hear, but I don't know if it's something that I wouldn't call it a 5 record. It's not an eternity playlist song, but I absolutely would not skip it, and I wouldn't turn this off. Hearing it again, though, I wonder if I would re-listen to this record again. I kind of like want to re-listen to Book of Secrets. It's been I'm not kidding a minute. It's been many years, like probably 20 years since I've listened to this song. Or this record. It's been a very long time.
The way music transports us back.
It's like crazy.
We say, if only time travel existed. Well, it kind of does through music sometimes.
Yeah. It does. It does. So I like the song. It reminds me of Lord of the Rings now more than anything. Like I hear it reminds me of Lord of the Rings, and I love Lord of the Rings. So all right, it's a good song. It's a good song. I think I would squarely put it at a 3.6. Okay. 3.6 records.
I can respect that a lot.
Yeah.
I really can.
It's definitely something you got to be in the mood to listen to, right? It's a different kind of a mood song, but I'm kind of like, I think I want to go back and listen to Book of Secrets. It's been a long time. It's a cool record. It's a cool record. That. All right, so 3.6 records for me for Loreena McKennitt's Mummer's Dance.
Okay, 3.6. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. Yeah. Moving into your second song to me for this week was Flight of, is it Icarus or Icarus?
Flight of Icarus.
Icarus. I
think it's Icarus. No, I think it's Icarus. I think it's Icarus.
By Iron Maiden. I'm not surprised an Iron Maiden made it on this list, especially based on suggestions that we were getting. I really like this myth.
Right.
And I don't know all the names. I don't have them written down.
Flew too close to the sun.
Yeah. I mean, they made waxed rings to escape, essentially. And despite warnings.
Yep.
He flew too close to the sun and his wings melted and he plummeted to his death.
Yeah.
There's a lot to learn in that.
And you hear that phrase a lot. Like he flew too close to the sun. Like you've heard that phrase a lot just used in life. Like, he flew too close to the sun and look what happened. Like, and it all comes from this Greek myth of Icarus.
Yeah. So what a story. And I think this song actually changes up the myth a little bit, where I think the lyrics more indicate that the dad said, like, betrays. Isn't there more of a betrayal in this?
So basically in the original, Daedalus and his son Icarus escape King Minos' prison by building wax wings and flying away on him. Daedalus warns Icarus not to fly too high, but the cocky teen rebels. His wings melt and he plummets to his death in what is now called the Icarian Sea, which is where he was reportedly buried by Hercules, by the way. In the song, Daedalus watches from the ground, and his advice to his son is to fly and touch the sun. The now obedient Icarus does so and realizes his father tricked him just before his wings melt.
How sad is that?
I don't know why his dad would trick him, though.
No kidding. That's awful.
Yeah. Why would his son trick him?
I don't know. That's why I like the cocky teen version better.
Yeah, this was actually, so a couple other bits about this song is that this was actually Iron Maiden's first U.S. single released in the United States.
I saw that and I thought, how interesting that this would be what was first released.
In 1983, Peace of Mind, and well, before that, they're really strictly a British metal band. And they had this was the second record with Bruce Dickinson as vocalist. Before that, their first 2 records had their original vocalist on there, And then Bruce Dickinson didn't join the band until Number of the Beast, which is a classic Iron Maiden record. And then Peace of Mind, which is another. The Iron Maiden had an amazing string of records. Number of the Beast, Peace of Mind, Power Slave. That was like that ruled the 80s. Just completely. I mean, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but as far as Maiden fans go, it's like that's, you know,
Sure.
that's the stuff of legend there. Yeah. And the opening riff, and we've talked about that. We've talked about this song on this show was inspired by Dio's Holy Diver.
We have. When I read that, I was like, I know that.
Yeah, you do know that.
I know that.
Yeah.
And he was even referenced by Dave earlier.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this, I feel like sometimes there's songwriting that is just out of your own imagination. And
Right.
then I think there's the songwriting that you hear something and then you take it into some kind of musical adventure. So even though like they're taking hints of something that already existed, I think to put it to music, you know, put it in your own
Right.
way, because it sounds very Iron Maiden-y.
Right. Sounds Iron Maiden-y.
So it does.
There,
but it's not bad.
yeah, Iron
It's not
Maiden
bad.
has like they have cultivated the Iron Maiden sound. Like that is the sound. They created the mold, the template. Like so many, nobody sounded like Maiden before Maiden. I mean, you get a lot of their stuff is obviously there's foundational stuff that they drew from to create the Maiden sound, but that Maiden sound, and you know, when we talked about the first band that we talked about today, you could definitely draw a straight line from that to this.
It's just not as, I'll use the word powerful, maybe.
Well, it's just different, you know. It's the
Yeah.
evolution, right? It's not as thick and the symphonic, but like that was then built from all that. So Dave is saying a lot of people blame Icarus for flying too close to the sun, but the alternative is to fly too close to the sea, where his wings would get too wet to fly.
I like either of those. I think it's just important. I think there's a lot of warning, as there is in any folklore,
Right.
that like, listen, don't go too close to the sun. Don't do what you're not told to do unless it's good. But I mean, you should have known the wax would melt.
I don't understand why his dad would trick him though. Like, why would you want to kill your son and trick your son?
I don't know. I'm not a dad.
I don't know. It's weird. Like, I know we joke, but like, that's, why would you want your son
Not
to
a
like,
dad. I don't know.
you're trying to escape a prison and then like
to only die.
to only like then trick your son. I don't know. It makes no sense to me, but it's a great song.
It is a good song.
It is a good song. All right. So let's listen to, if you've never heard this, and I love the live version of this. The live after death version of all these songs are amazing, by the way. Sorry. Oh, yes. Oh, Flight of Icarus.
Their album covers are always so interesting.
Man stands on the hill as the crowd warms to the first rays of light. A burnt sun shatters the steel. His eyes are ablaze. See the madman in his gaze. Fly on your wing like an eagle. Fly as high as the sun. On your wing like an eagle. Fly, touch the sun. Yeah.
So majestic.
Now the crowd breaks and a young boy appears. Looks the old man in the eye.
In the eye.
As he spreads his wings and shouts at the crowd, in the name of God, my Father, I'll fly. His eyes seem so glazed as he flies on the wings of a dream. Now he knows his father betrayed.
Now he knows his father betrayed.
Right now, like so
To
awful.
ashes and flame. Fly on your
This is a gang vocalist.
like an eagle, fly as high as the sun.
great solo here. All right.
So his dad was just a real jerk.
Yeah, the moral was Dave just wrote. The moral of the story. It goes. I guess the moral of the story is don't have to delay us as for a dad.
I mean,
Don't have a jerk dad.
What a jerk.
What a jerk dad. Why would you trick your son?
I don't know. Fly high,
To
son.
die.
Fly high.
Fly high, touch the sun, let the wings melt and die.
Yeah, why not just-
I got you.
Why don't you just leave him in prison then?
Yeah, just what are you doing?
Just
What are you
escape on
doing?
your own.
What are you doing, Delayus?
I
I'm not even
know.
saying. I don't even know if I'm saying it
awful.
right. Day Delayus. I don't know. All right.
All right.
So
Where
where
do
are
I
you
rate?
rating? Where do you rate Iron Maiden's Flight of Icarus or Icarus, whatever? I don't know. How do you say? Is it Icarus or Icarus? I can't.
We are gonna have so many like mythology people correct us.
I have to go back to the actual because he says it in Live After Death. I think he says Flight of Icarus. I have to go back. Let me see.
But that doesn't mean that that's what it is either. Maybe that's just what it needed to be sung correctly.
Hold on, I'm gonna look right now while you're reviewing.
Yes, you Google machine that while I'm giving my review. So I feel like I'm gonna nestle this one in at the 3.82. And when I say 3.82, I mean 3.8 as well.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would turn this one on. I'm not gonna skip it.
Mm-hmm.
This one probably wouldn't add like this one I wouldn't put on a Halloween playlist if that makes sense. Like
Okay.
I feel like it's not quite Medusa. I feel like it's more spooky and
It's just
Halloweenish.
more mythology.
Yeah, this
Right.
this one's just not so much.
Right. Okay. Well, listen. I still take it. It's not bad.
Okay, let's.
All right, let me
we've
see.
got
Let me see.
confirmation coming. At least how Iron Maiden.
I could swear he says it. Hold on. Let me.
Icarus rhymes with trick or us.
He said rhymes are trickerous.
Yeah, trick or us.
Oh,
Trick or us or trick or us.
let me see.
So Icarus, trick or us.
Nope, it just goes right into the song. All right, I could swear that he says maybe it's on the
I
the
bet-
concert version. The
Yes,
video.
or if he live and
Yeah.
which
Okay.
again their album covers just are so cool.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That's a lot of their cover art is pretty impressive.
Everything about Iron Maiden is cool. Actually, there's a great album cover for this song too, because they would release these as singles, and the singles even had different, like the singles had album cover, like album art that
were different than
yeah.
the actual
The greatest
album.
part, one of the best parts about Iron Maiden is the album art.
It's
is
very cool. They'd be very neat shirts.
like you would listen, they were always great shirts. And you would stare at the album covers endlessly when you bought an Iron Maiden record. Like
Well,
endlessly. Here, let
I'll
me
be
see if I can
honest,
get-
as I'm flipping through old albums, if I'm buying them for myself, really the album art, I want to, and Owen adds to his collection based on album art.
Mhm.
He's got such a cute little collection now.
He does.
He does. Like all music I would never listen to, but he's a little bit of a gangster.
He's a little bit of a gangster.
It's all right.
I wanted to see if I could bring this up. I wanted to get the. Oh, here we go. I think I got it.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
excellent. That's what and let's be really real right now. That is an image that would be generated from AI. Yeah, this was before AI time.
Before, yeah. I mean, this was done by hand. By the way,
It
we don't.
absolutely was. But think about like this is what AI would generate like within seconds. And to know somebody sat down and actually
Well, yeah. and Derek
made
Riggs.
this.
Derek Riggs was the artist for many, many years. He designed he drew
love it.
all these paintings. And the great thing, the thing that you would stare, the reason why you would stare for hours at these is that he embedded all kinds of like little other images inside these. So you
little
would have to
Easter
stare.
eggs.
And on top of that, you had to find his signature. And his signature was like a bunch of symbols. And that's how he signed
Oh.
everything. And you would look to see where he would hide the signature in the picture. So
That's fun.
it's just a lot of Easter egg stuff, very, very, very
Which
fun.
to
Very fun.
fans, those are the things that make a difference to a fan.
It really did. And that's why Iron Maiden's the whole package. The whole
The
package.
whole package. You heard it from
Yeah.
Chris Baglio.
The whole package. The whole
Maiden's
package.
The whole
Yeah,
package.
yeah. All right. So your third and final song to me today.
Classic.
It's a classic, Amanda.
It's a classic me.
Happens to be the most controversial song on our list,
No
by the way.
kidding.
The
Who
most
thought?
controversial song on our list today.
It's a kid song.
is a kid's song, but was very, very controversial. And in fact, was banned in some other countries because everybody thought it was about drugs. And I am talking about the one and the only Puff the Magic Dragon by Peter, Paul, and Mary, which charted number 2, by the way, in the United States, released in 1963.
What a sweet song.
The song was rumored to be about drugs, particularly marijuana, otherwise known as the devil's lettuce. Otherwise known as Mary Jane.
Good old Mary Jane.
Good old Mary Jane. The rumor was fueled by a 1964 Newsweek article about hidden drug messages on pop music that came up with the following interpretations. Here's the interpretations of Puff the Magic Dragon. It's all very plausible, by the way, especially when you look at Beatles songs.
I will argue their argument is legit and fair.
It's very legit and fair.
However, so is Peter, Paul, and Mary's.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So, all right. So here is the argument, or I would say here's the analogies by Newsweek, by the way. Not. So the interpretations were Puff's friend Jackie Paper equals rolling papers. Puff equals to take a puff from a joint. And dragon is a variation of drag in, as in taking a drag from a joint to inhale the smoke. The band claimed that the song is really about losing the innocence of childhood and has nothing to do with drugs. And at the end of the song, Puff goes back into his cave, which symbolizes the loss of childhood and innocence. Yes. Peter Yarrow, who wrote the song in 1958 before he joined the group, it's said it started as a poem his roommate Lenny Lipton left in a typewriter in this interview with Song Facts. He said, Lenny Lipton and I were at Cornell and it was exam time. He came to my place in College Town, sat down at the typewriter and wrote some poetic words. He had been thinking about Ogden Nash for a while, and he wrote a part of what became the lyric. He actually left a piece of paper in the typewriter, and when he left, he became absorbed into getting his exams. It was not intended to be the lyric of a song or anything. It was just something that he typed on paper, and I looked at it and loved it, and I wrote the rest of the words to give it a strong form and dramatic arch and music to it. Later on the album, Moving, that's the name of the record that this was on, when we were looking for children's songs, we did some children's songs on the first album, including Autumn May and It's Raining. I suggested Puff the Magic Dragon, and we put it on the album without any thought that it might ever become popular or in any important way. Yet it happened spontaneously at some point because a DJ somewhere in the Northwest started to play it on the radio, and it just took off, and it's the song that it is now. A few years after the song became a hit, Yarrow found Lipton and gave him half of the songwriting credit. Lipton, who was a camp counselor when Yarrow found him, gets extensive royalties from the song. And Lipton went on to develop a system for projecting films in 3D. What a story.
Why I really believe the second version of what this song is about more so than the first. And yes, just because it can apply doesn't mean that that's what it is. Get your pot smoking heads out of your tushy. It doesn't have to be about puffing a magic dragon.
No, but I definitely think it can make sense.
It makes sense
considering the culture of the time. Yeah. So
100%.
I did find that there was the original poem had a verse that didn't make it into the song, which I found to be interesting, which in it, Puff found another child and played with him after returning. Neither Yarrow or Lipton remembered the verse, and a detail in the paper that was left in Yarrow's typewriter in 1958 has since been lost. So there was an actual other verse where, that childhood, grows up and Puff goes away, but then another child comes and I thought that was very cool because that's kind of very Toy Story, ish, right? Much. As you grow up, you move on, you become an adult, you grow up and, and you lose your imagination in that way, or, it's that whole thing. And I think it's a very sweet, sweet thing that I kind of was like, oh, I wish I was kind of in the actual song.
I love, just imagine being so good at just writing down a few words poetically.
Yeah.
Just happening to leave it in a typewriter with somebody who happens to be able to be a songwriter.
Yep.
And put it to music, and it becomes Puff the Magic Dragon. Such a successful song.
Yeah.
That's so crazy to me.
So it says, Dave is saying, wait, you mean songs can be about two things at the same time via text and subtext?
Yes.
Yes. Yes,
This one is
they
a perfect
can.
explanation of it.
Yes, they can. So it's so funny. So this song did get banned, by the way. It was banned in Singapore and Hong Kong because authorities thought it contained drug references.
That's so annoying.
Some of the alleged drug references in this song include, by the way, these are alleged autumn mist, which was marijuana smoke, in a land of Honolulu, which was the Hawaiian town of Honolulu, famous for its marijuana plants. Pidiyaro insists that not only did the song have nothing to do with drugs, but he didn't even know about pot in 1958. I find that hard to believe, by the way, which kills any theories that he put drug references in it subconsciously. Like, first of all, you went to school, you were in college in 1958. You didn't know about pot? I'm sorry. I don't buy that. I do buy that the song's not about.
Yes, but
Don't pretend like you didn't know. Come on. You're in New York. You're going to school in New York in 58.
I can't hear that school, Cornell, and not think of Andy from The Office
Yeah.
every single time.
Yeah.
So he has put that's the trademark in my brain. I just think this song is sweet. This is very folky to me, which we all know I like that.
Oh, yeah.
Sound, and it's just sweet. And I do think of it as just a childhood reminiscent type of make-believe song.
Mhm.
And again, the argument can be that it doesn't mean
Yeah.
that it was for that, but it applies to it. It certainly applies to it.
Yeah, it certainly applies to it. I mean, it's a sweet song, and I fond memories of growing up hearing this song as a kid, and obviously too, I mean, the classic Peach Dragon, right?
Yeah,
Disney,
what a
and
classic.
fantastic. Just everything about this is like it's you grow up being a kid, and this is on. Like, you grow up hearing Puff the Magic Dragon and all that, and it's funny as an adult to then learn about all the controversy of this folk song, which is hilarious to me, which is like, we just listened to, like, we heard some metal and all this stuff, but the song that got the most controversy was this Innocent Child song written in the 58, 60s.
That they wanted as kids' songs.
Yeah, 1963 was the most, it got banned.
Banned.
like it was a song by Ozzy or something.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, so here is, for those of you that do not know this song, here is Puff the Magic Dragon.
Yeah, some of our baby listeners may not.
You might not.
What a group. What a sound. What a
What a
legacy.
sound.
Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Paper,
What a voice.
found that rascal
Clean.
and brought him strings and sealing wax and other fancy stuff.
And other fancy stuff.
Puff the magic dragon.
Great harmony.
So wholesome.
Very much. So for them to turn it into something that's not.
It's about drugs. See, they're getting high.
Yeah, just singing so calmly like this.
And frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Together they would travel.
I think it's sweet.
It is a sweet song. I mean, listen, Peter, Paul, and Mary, great duo. Actually, not even duo, great singing group. Who just created tons and tons of songs. So they are definitely American legends. And the fact that they did a lot of those folk songs and the children's songs, they brought songs that like people had never heard before, brought new life to them. So Puff the Magic Dragon, this is a legendary song. I still am very sure that like kids still, they play the song for kids today. And there's been 1,000 cover versions of Puff the Magic Dragon, including, I know these guys are saying, here we go. In the chat, the Andrews sisters, Connie Francis, Bing Crosby, Seal, and one of Australia's greatest bands, The Seekers, all did great covers of this song.
And I specifically, after I was like, oh, I want this this song on my list, I tried to find a cover version that I was happy with, that I felt could replace this as the spot. And I just kept landing back to, I just loved the delivery of this one. And while the others are very similar, I just feel like their harmonies, their presentation of it, there's something very unique about their version.
Yeah, I gotta listen to these other versions. I don't think I've heard of any of these.
they're very on point
Very
for,
faithful.
I would say so. They're just,
Okay.
when you hear even faithful though doesn't quite duplicate magic.
Right. Yeah.
There's just something about combinations sometimes that you're like, oh,
I
that
gotta hear this.
original.
I gotta hear the Seal cover. Wow.
I didn't hear.
I didn't know Seal did a cover. I gotta hear the Seal cover. I gotta go back and listen to these.
Man,
These
I'm
I
telling you.
didn't realize Seal did a cover of
Dave
Puff the
and
Magic
Ian
Dragon.
just always have the knowledge
It's like
bombs for us.
unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, so where do I rate Puff the
Yeah.
Magic Dragon?
Where do you rate this terrible
You
marijuana song?
Man, there's a horrible song about pot and getting high.
The nerve.
How the nerve.
And now it's legal in a ton of states.
Yeah, more than half the United States. So let's break this down a little bit. So the song itself, I mean, I remember being a kid growing up hearing the song. So once again, a lot of nostalgia, lot of member berries here for this song with me. It's hard for me to not to separate growing up being a kid and listening to the song, and like it's just great memories of this.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. So my judgment is going to be clouded on this.
Sure.
I don't think there's anybody who's putting this on today, like choosing to listen to this.
I think that can be fair.
But could be completely wrong about that. I'm making that up, honestly, because you don't hear people going, "Oh, let's listen to Puff the Magic Dragon."
I think people forget about it.
But you do forget it because I think, once again, like the dragon, you grow up.
Yeah.
And that's it. The song, it served a point and purpose in your life, and then you grow up and
done.
Yeah. And it is a children's song, and we're not kids anymore. So I think that it serves a time and place in a life. So as far as a kid's song goes, it's like a 5-record song for kids.
Okay.
As an adult, not so much anymore, but still a great song because you remember all the good times.
Mm-hmm.
So I still think, so is it an eternity playlist song for me? No, not at this age.
Sure.
But it's still a damn good song, so it's 4 records
okay.
for me. For
that's
for
really
it still
fair.
being a really great song. But once again, it's hard to emotionally separate myself from this one.
No, I feel like this assessment's very fair, and anyone listening understands what you're conveying.
Right, because I think our generation especially, like, we grew up hearing this song in kindergarten and just being kids. Like, the song was on, and that's it. And I have great memories of hearing the song as a kid, so I can't separate it out. So I think as far as a kid song, it's 5 records because it is timeless. It holds up. Everybody knows, like, you hear it, you're like, oh, it's very refreshing. I think as far as an adult goes, it's 4 records because it's still a great song. Just I wouldn't choose to put it on.
That's fair. That's completely fair. All right.
That's my assessment.
I
What do you guys think, though? I want to hear from you. How do you guys feel about Puff the Magic Dragon these days?
I think I wouldn't be surprised if people land exactly where you're landing. Like there's this fondness of it, yet not really a place for it in the current older years. So I think that's super fair. I think that's very respectable.
Okay.
And that makes a lot of sense.
All right. Very good. All right. So our last song of today, Amanda Sharp, going to you. My last song.
And I feel like our playlists are very similar, where we kind of both ended with interesting little like melodies almost.
Yeah.
Where your third and final song to me is Werewolves in London by Warren. Is it Zevon?
Zevon. Warren Zevon. A great American songwriter, Warren Zevon. This was recommended, and I'm glad it was because it reminded me how I love this song, and I'm glad it made, it was recommended in Facebook. I forgot. I think it may have been like my brother-in-law, Jason, and maybe Tony. I feel like it showed up on a few people's lists, like, Werewolves in London, Warren Zevon. So
I think the beat to this song, and when I looked into the background and the song facts about it and how the song was written, like basically like one person said a line and the next thing you know, like he said a line and they were bouncing back and forth, basically writing this song kind of about nonsense a little bit to some degree, yet adding some ahs in there and just a fun beat. So I feel like this is a fun song. I think great around the holiday season, to your point. Like, we're not wishing summer away, but our avid listeners know Chris and I love Halloween. So if we can slip into something that brings us into that Halloween season, I think that's cool too. So I think this is just a really fun song and a really good song to wrap up the playlist for today. If you're listening online, it kind of slows it down a little bit, anchors you into to go into In the Arms of an Angel.
Yeah.
On our playlist.
Yeah, and Dave, I was just about to say this, Dave, quite likely the best opening line of all time. I saw a werewolf with a Chinese menu in his hand, walking through the streets of Soho in the raid. Yes.
It's kind of nonsense-ish. Like, what was it? Like,
It's
I
great.
can't imagine like just coming up with it and going, that's a great line. I'm gonna see that line with this line.
Yeah.
And it becomes this very popular song.
This is a very classic song. I mean, you can still hear it on rock radio today, big
Sure.
time. I mean, it was released in 1978 off of his album Excitable Boy. It charted number 21 in the United States. And little funny story about this. Yeah, Warren Zevon wrote the song with guitarist Robert Waddy Watchell. When Zevon was working with the Everly Brothers, he hired Watchell to play in their backing band. At one point, Phil Everly asked them to write a dance song for the Everly Brothers called Werewolves in London. Watchell and Zevon were good friends and were strumming guitars together when someone asked what they were playing. Zevon replied, Werewolves in London, and Watchell started howling. Zevon
Perfect.
came up with the line, I saw a werewolf with a Chinese menu in his hand, and they traded lyrics, like you said, back and forth until they had their song. So that was, and that's coming off of WarrenZevon.com's website, from where that information is coming from.
What
But
a
it was
fun
written...
conception of where it started to
Yep.
where it ends up.
This was written long before it was released in 1978. After putting out an album in 1970, he took work writing jingles and became the Everly Brothers band leader. His good friend Jackson Browne championed him and started performing Werewolves in London in 1975, always explaining that the song was written by Zevon. Jackson Browne convinced his label at Asylum to sign Warren Zevon, and they did, pairing him in the studio with Browne producing. They didn't record Werewolves in London for Zevon's first album. For first Asylum record, Warren Zevon in 1976, because Browne, already an industry-savvy veteran with 3 albums under his belt, knew that Zevon's more outlandish songs like The French Inhaler and Desperados Under the Eaves wouldn't make it onto his second record, so they had him record them while they had a chance. Meanwhile, Browne's label pushed him to record Werewolves, but he refused, knowing that it was quintessential Zevon. Browne returned to produce Zevon's next record, Excitable Boy, and this time they included Werewolves in London. That is it. And the rest is history.
That's all he wrote.
The rest is history. This is quite possibly Warren Zevon, believe me, he's got a lot of amazing, beautiful songs. Really great songs, but this is probably his most popular song and the most fun. I mean, it's a fun one to sing. It's a fun one to sing.
Showed up in things, on the big screen.
Yep.
TV shows. It is a fun song, and musically, it's got a fun beat to it. I enjoy it.
Yeah. All right. So for anybody, and by the way, this has also been sampled too. I think Kid Rock has sampled
Kid Rock,
this. Yeah.
yes.
So everybody kind of knows this.
The jingle behind it.
Yeah. Even if you don't know the song, you know the song. So, all right. So here's some Werewolves in London. Oop, let me get that queued up. That was not being shared. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Making sure it's not the Kid Rock version. All right. Here we go. Here's some Werewolves in London. Everybody knows this one. There you go.
Yeah, you might be familiar with this, but not with this song.
Yeah.
I saw a werewolf with a Chinese menu in his hand,
Nonsense.
The best.
Nonsense.
walking through the streets of Soho in the rain. He was looking for the place called Lee Ho Fooks. Gonna get a big dish of beef chow mein. Ahoo, werewolves of London. Ahoo, ahoo,
Feeling fun.
werewolves of London. Ahoo. You hear him howling around your kitchen door. You better not let him in. Little old lady got mutilated late last night.
No big deal, though. No big
Yeah.
deal.
Werewolves of London
Just jingle it up.
again. Ahoo, werewolves of London. Ahoo, ahoo, werewolves of London. Ahoo.
Great song. Excellent song. it's such an easy sing along.
It is.
I
It's
absolutely love this
easy
song.
listening.
I remember growing up and hearing it. I mean, they used to play it all, especially here in New York, on every classic rock radio station, which we had back in the day. Like, you could turn on the radio and hear this song in rotation, and you could definitely hear it, like, if you have Sirius XM Classic, any of those, it's still in rotation. It is just it's a monster of a song.
Let me ask, because I don't think I necessarily knew this as a young kid, because my parents listened to very interesting choices. Was this played all year long?
Yeah, absolutely. This, I mean, obviously during the holidays you would hear it more as the spooky season, but it was just a hit song. Like, this was released on his record, and it was a hit. It just was a song that was played. Like, and obviously too, once American Werewolf in London came out, like that film, it kind of really caught. It's a song that kind of keeps like finding life again, and generationally and playlists, and it just you do hear this sometimes, like especially during sporting events during the they'll hear it, and you'll hear it during ad. Like, it just is a song that keeps finding new life over and over again, and I think that's amazing. I mean, for a song released that was written, back in 1970, and didn't get released till 78.
Years ago, yeah.
Still, here we are in 2024, like still being a song, that is there, like that just keeps coming back. Cause I'm so glad. I'm really happy because it's a great song, and I'm glad that like guys like Kid Rock sampled it for all summer long, because it's a perfect like a din din.
Oh yeah,
din,
a ditty.
Din, 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 din. Yeah, and for a guy that wrote jingles, like, genius.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I wonder. I mean, I would assume there's some sort of royalties or something that Kid Rock would be paying them just for that jingle score.
Oh God, yes. He wrote that. I mean, of course, yeah. That's not free.
So think like just on its own, the success and the monetary compensation that it's provided, and then have someone like Kid Rock pick it up and then put this whole new life to it. Just
amazing.
I mean, big money from one song.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So where do I rate this?
Where do you rate Werewolves in London by Warren Zevon on a scale of 1 to 5 records, with 1 being a skip and 5 being heavenly music to our ears? Amanda, everybody's waiting. Where is it rated?
I'm gonna give this a 4.5. I really like it. It's so easy to listen to. It's nonsensical. Like, it's just a silly song. You don't have to think to enjoy it.
No.
It's just fun.
It's
a fun little ditty. I mean, I could.
It is. It's a great ditty. It sticks in your head, and you're like, ooh, Werewolves in London. Like, it's got a lot of great hooks. It's great. Yeah,
it becomes an earworm. However, it doesn't overstay.
Right. Yeah, it's a 3.5 minute song.
For a little bit of the day, you might be going the ooh and hearing the dun, 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 but then it moves. It moves out of your brain, so it stays for the perfect amount of time. And for those reasons, it deserves a 4.5.
I like your 4.5. That is a very fair rating for sure. Yeah, I think this song is just phenomenal. It's a great song. It's fun. It holds up all these years later. It still sounds refreshing to me.
It does.
It's like you said, it's a really good ditty in all the best ways, by the way. Not in an annoying way, No. What do you guys think? You let me know. Oh, here it goes.
Did we get it right?
Dave is saying Werewolves and Lenny is inherently a 5 record, but it's so well known that I have to drop it to a 4.5 as well. So okay.
Dave,
all right.
I'm liking your scoring today.
Yeah, you guys let us know. Who else what do you guys rate this song at on a scale of 1 to 5 records? Is Warren Zevon's Werewolves in London a 5 record for you? Or is it something that you're gonna skip? I don't know. We want to hear from you. Let us know. And for those of you who listen to the show, and maybe you're listening on Spotify, there is a comments section in Spotify. So use that comment section. Let us know. Play along with us. Let us know what you would have thought of all these songs or any of these songs. How would you have rated them on a scale of 1 to 5 records? And of course, if you're watching this afterwards on YouTube, let us know in the comments. Drop it in there. We want to hear from you. And all Radio Garden State listeners out there, let us know. Send us a DM. We want to hear from you guys too. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
So, Chris, you are the winner at 12.1 with me following at 11.6. So, congratulations.
I am the winner of Song Swap Showdown this week. No, this was
Mixed
fun.
version. This was good. Good topic.
This was a really good topic. Fun episode today. I hope you guys all enjoyed it and had as much fun as we did going through these songs today. And it was definitely fun trying to pare our playlist down for sure.
Yep. 6 solid songs.
So, Amanda, we're at this point in the show
Yes, we are.
where it's time. What time is it?
It's time to spin that wheel of show things.
That's right. It's time to spin the wheel of show themes, everybody.
Fun way to wrap up each episode. I love
That's
this
right.
part.
Here we go. So,
Oh boy.
let's bring up this week's show themes.
Saying Aussie week. Aussie week. It's on there.
It's on here. It's on here. So, all right. I've shuffled it. I'm going to shuffle it again. It's been shuffled now 2 times in a row, guys. So, here we go. Spinning the wheel to see what next week's show theme will be.
Will it be enough to bring us Aussie? Let's see. Not Aussie.
Awesome.
Aussie. Oh boy. Oh
I was
boy.
gonna say-
Oh, this is good. I love the silly wheel. Songs with beverages in the title.
There you go. Songs with beverages in the title.
Random.
How random.
And let's remind our listeners how we have these topics. We have been graciously given these ideas from our community. So if you want to have your ideas or themes added to this wheel, send us a message and we will put them on the wheel of show themes. But next week, the wheel has spoken and it is saying songs about beverages in the title.
Yep.
But in the title, not just about beverages, in the title.
Yeah, in the title. So the song could be about beverages, but the actual title has to reference a beverage
Oh boy.
of any sort, any kind of beverage.
Milk,
Yeah.
alcohol, Pepsi Colas, all the
Anything.
things.
Yeah, Ian is saying that's almost every Australian song.
So perfect.
There you go.
Well, Ian, send me your suggestions.
Yes.
Dave, send me your suggestions, which you guys always do. But this will be interesting. I think just by default, because of the topic, I think these songs are going to be fun
I think so too.
and probably really good for summer. It's probably going to be like a nice summer show.
Yeah, I think so too. I think because, I mean, listen, it's like we talk about it all the time. I mean, having like whatever you enjoy drinking doesn't have to be alcoholic, but
No.
I mean, iced tea, lemonade, like
Yep.
nothing better than some good sweet tea when it's nice and hot out with the ice. Oh, it's so good, you know. Or I'm like, you know, I do a lot of like club soda mixed in with like cranberry juice. You know, I just do like a nice like spritzer like that way, or like we buy this like mango lemonade.
Mocktails going on.
Yeah, to just do like some club soda with that, and it's just a nice refreshing spritzer.
So this is what I'm going to ask every one of our listeners.
I'm a
and
big
you
Polar
should do
Seltzer
this.
fan, so
Here
if
we
Polar
go.
wants to
Come
sponsor,
prepared next Monday at 8:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with your favorite drink. And be prepared to give us the recipe. Maybe it's just, hey, cracking open a Coke. But maybe it's a fun mocktail that we might be able to try.
yeah,
Come prepared. Dave, Ian, Mark Ronick, I saw you pop in too. As a teetotaler, my suggestions might be in the minority.
that's fine. That is fine.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, for everybody out there, like, and Radio Garden State listeners too,
Yes.
everybody, we want to hear from you. So drop us. We will put this on Facebook, so you can drop your suggestions there. Also, we'll post it on Instagram, so you can feel free to drop your comments in there. You can DM us. You can also email us at info@songswapshowdown.com. We want to hear from you. We want your suggestions. Everybody, our whole community. This is for all of you.
Love it.
All of you. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you live right here next Monday for an all-new episode. All right, everyone. Cheers. See ya.